If you like this video, please visit www.fredrogerscenter.org. Fred McFeely Rogers was born March 20th, 1928 in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where his father was president of one of the area's most prosperous businesses. As an overweight, sickly, and only child until he was 11, the future Mr. Rogers was not allowed to play outside alone.
You know, I wasn't allowed to go out of the house by myself when I was very little. My parents were afraid that somebody might take me away and they wouldn't see me again. So they always said, Freddie, when you want to go outside, always tell somebody, and somebody can go with you.
Rogers often worked out his anxieties and frustrations by playing with puppets and immersed himself in music. He spent winters in Florida with his grandfather, Fred Brooks McFeely, who allowed him the freedom to roam outdoors that was forbidden to him back home, and who would often say to his grandson, I like you just the way you are.
So I was named for my grandfather, whose name was Fred McFeely. He's the kind of person who would say to you, you've made this day a special day. Glad you're here.
Mr. Rogers attended Dartmouth College, but transferred to Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, where he graduated with a music composition degree in 1951. While there, he met his future wife, Joanne, a gifted pianist with whom he would have 2 children. Rogers' plans to attend the seminary following college changed when he discovered children's programming on television.
I went home my senior year for a vacation, and I saw this new thing called television. And I thought, this could be a wonderful tool.
After graduating college, Rogers found work at NBC Studios in New York, where he worked on musical shows, including Your Hit Parade, The Kate Smith Hour, and The Voice of Firestone. He also worked on The Gabby Hayes Show for children. In November 1953, Rogers moved back to Pittsburgh, where he helped organize WQED, the nation's first community-based educational television station. He and his friend, Josie Carey, produced and wrote the Children's Corner for the channel. While Ms. Carey hosted, Rogers worked behind the scenes as a puppeteer, donning his famous sneakers and introducing characters such as King Friday, Lady Elaine, and Daniel Tiger.
Here we were, just a half dozen people trying to get this educational television station on the air.
The award-winning show was eventually picked up by NBC, which ran 30 segments during 1955 to 1956. Around this time as well, Rogers enrolled at Pittsburgh Theological Seminary and studied child psychology at Pittsburgh's Arsenal Family and Children's Center. In 1963, Rogers was ordained by the Unitarian Presbyterian Church and charged with the mission of using the media to help families and children. He was invited by Canadian Broadcasting Corporation to produce a children's show, landing him in front of the camera on Mr. Rogers.
My name is Mr. Rogers. I'm glad that you are near. You've made this day a special day.
When production money for Mr. Rogers began to run out, the Sears Roebuck Foundation agreed to finance a half-hour version of the program for public television in America. On February 19, 1968, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood made its debut, making the gentle, unassuming Rogers an instant celebrity to children all over the country.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor, would you be mine?
The show would run for 895 episodes, with its final season airing in 2001. In contrast to other children's programming, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood did not rely on bombastic music or silly antics to retain its audience. The show followed a simple formula in which the protagonist always entered the room, changed into a sweater and sneakers, and sang the theme song, composed by Mr. Rogers himself. Mr. Rogers never talked down to children. Instead, he sought to encourage them to express themselves and to help them manage their feelings, even dealing with topics as difficult as death, divorce, war, or poverty.
Would you show me how you make your chair go?
Okay, sure. Alright. Well, first, this is the on-and-off switch, and I move this up to turn it on.
Okay.
And
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood would go on to win 5 Emmy Awards, culminating in a Lifetime Achievement Award for Rogers himself in 1997.
Who would have ever thought that somebody would want my autograph, you know, or want to take my picture? That wasn't what I was in it for. This all evolved, you know. That's what's so interesting.
Rogers' advocacy for children and for his preferred medium of communication extended far beyond his famous television show. A lifelong vegetarian and avid swimmer who never smoked or drank, Mr. Rogers seemed to have boundless energy, traveling all over the country to support worthy causes and to meet his millions of fans. In 1969, Rogers appeared before Congress to support funding for public broadcasting.
This is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
10 years later, he testified again for fair use for the home recording of television programs, which allowed family to watch his programs together later in the evenings. He would win a Presidential Medal of Freedom for all of his tireless work. In 1996, he appeared in his first and only fictional role as a preacher on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
I'm very proud of you, Timothy. You've learned well. It's not the building, it's the people who are the church.
Having grown up watching Mr. Rogers, many of us wondered if the man behind the show was truly the kind, non-judgmental father figure we saw on camera. In an interview, Rogers once said that the greatest gift you can give anybody is the gift of your honest self. And those who worked with him said that's exactly what he gave.
Jeffrey Erlanger. It is quite hard. I'm so glad to see you. Oh, thank you for coming. My pleasure. It is. What a surprise. It's an honor to be here tonight, to be part of your this proud moment. You know, when you tell people that it's you I like, we know that you really mean it. And tonight, I want to let you know that on behalf of millions of children and grown-ups, it is you that I like.
Generations of television audiences mourned when, on February 27, 2003, Fred Rogers passed away at 74 after a brief battle with stomach cancer.
Who in your life has been such a servant to you? Who has helped you love the good that grows within you? Let's just take 10 seconds to think of some of those people who have loved us and wanted what was best for us in life. Those who have encouraged us to become who we are tonight. Just 10 seconds of silence. I'll watch the time. No matter where they are, either here or in heaven, imagine how pleased those people must be to know that you thought of them right now. We all have only one life to live on earth. We have the choice of encouraging others to demean this life or to cherish it in creative, imaginative ways.
While Mr. Rogers never practiced as a minister, he did have his own congregation, made up of the millions of children and adults who grew up with him, and all of whom, at some point in their lives, took comfort in his words and teachings.
I'd just like to be remembered for for being a compassionate human being.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to this channel.